somebody's already here. Hi. Hello. What is up, you guys? Welcome to my first live stream in a really long time. I think it's been over a year maybe since the last time I did a live stream. So welcome. I'm excited to have you here. What I'm looking at right now is my January monthly setup. So that's what we are going to be planning today. And as you can tell, I've already written like everything in here because I already did my planning for January. So since I'm not really sure what I want the outlook or the overall layout to look like in the end, what I'm going to do for now is I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to duplicate a page, but I want to duplicate the current template. So basically you add a page and then I want it to go after, which is already selected, and I'm going to tap current template and it's just going to duplicate this page, and I'm going to do my layout on here and then I'll just paste it on top of here and I'll delete this page later. So if you have any questions during the live, feel free to pop it into the chat and I will do my best to pay attention to it. It's a little bit hectic to do all of this by yourself if you're trying to like monitor comments, but yeah, if you have something to say, if you have ideas, or if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I will always do my best to answer those. So let's go ahead and start planning now. I have already programmed the colors that I want to use for today, so I'm going to jump to the sticker pack and show you guys which color I'm planning. It is so weird to me having a vertical planner here compared to what I usually have, and so it'll be really interesting to get used to this. But this is the color palette I want to use. Like I said, it'll be interesting, especially because like the stickers go the opposite direction. These ones are horizontal, so yeah, but I guess it doesn't make a difference. So this is the color palette I want to use. I really am thinking the bright color will be fun for the monthly setup. I try not to use the super bright versions of things for the daily just because, I don't know, I prefer if I have a muted color palette to use that for the daily one just because I use it every single day and I use it so closely, like I'm always looking at it. And so for me, I don't know, it's like an overstimulation thing if I if I have the bright colors like always just shouting at me in my face. So I like to use them sometimes, and for me that works if I'm going to use like on my monthly or my weekly, but I use my daily like religiously, and so I try not to put the brightest colors in my daily unless I'm just feeling it. But yeah, I'm going to use this for the monthly. I think that's appropriate. So I will pop up on the screen the hex codes just in case you are wanting to follow along or something like that. And I'm going to do my best to not forget that. Why can't I get this picture to go up? No. What is happening? I've done this so many times in the past. I know I can put the picture. Really? Ugh. It never fails. Anytime that you do a live stream, there it goes. Anytime you do a live stream, something is always going to go wrong. So I'll leave these up for a couple minutes and then I'm going to do my best not to forget that I've put them up there. There were several times in the past that I did lives that I left the colors up here for like the entire live stream. So I'm going to do my best to not do that. But this is the color set that we are using. And I just want to brainstorm a little bit right now. So this is my very first time with this layout, so everything is going to be new. I think, not that it's necessary, but I think I'm definitely going to try to add like a colored outline to the calendar here and probably customize the sprints here so that instead of them being weekly, they'll be in 2-week sprints just because that's my preference. And this space is where I'm going to get creative, I think, for the most part. Because I like to keep my notes section. I might cover this up with other notes, but I definitely want to have a note section. And yeah, this will either just be like creative and decorative, or what I'm thinking is I might try to do like a monthly tracker of certain statistics on like social media or Pinterest or Etsy or something like that, so I can track where I'm at the beginning of the month and then where I'm at the end of the month. I've seen May do this before. I'm not sure if you guys know her, but some of you who have been around for a while are probably familiar because she's commented on my thing. She's on Patreon. She's great. She has her own YouTube channel, and she always shares her usage of my stickers, which I love. So, May, I'm sure you're watching this at some point, and I would just like to say hi. I don't know if you're here right now, but I'm sure you'll see this later. And, oh, look at that. New Zealand. Hi, Marla. Saturday afternoon, New Zealand. It is pretty late on a Friday night right now, so I wouldn't expect a lot of people to be tuning in on Friday night here in the US. But Saturday afternoon seems like a great time, so you'll have to let me know where at in New Zealand. I have been once, but only to the South Island, but I did drive all the way around it, so I'll be curious to see where you're from. I've lost my train of thought. ADHD for sure. But, oh yeah, so May, in her YouTube channel, she does all kinds of like living out of her car type of content, but she also shares her digital planning, and I love that. And she's always using my stickers, and she usually does some kind of like monthly tracker to track the statistics and her growth and stuff on different social media platforms. So I think I might take a page out of her book and do that this month somewhere. It's a new year, new goals. All right, so that's my general plan, and we'll see. I don't know if I'll cover up this space or what I'm going to do, but that's a good starting point. So we don't have any of our go-to elements, so we are going to have to start over pretty much completely. But let's first start with our ball pen here, and I've got it in the size 1.3 millimeters. I think that should be big enough for what I want. And I'm just going to pick one of these colors, and I am going to just draw and hold. And I actually have my draw and hold setting. I can show you. In the pen, when you tap on it and go to your settings, draw and hold, I have the fill color turned off. That just makes my life a little bit easier because I don't want that fill color in here. And then we can just grab the shape tool here and tap on it, and it's going to bring up these nodes, and we can just move this so that it lines up perfectly where we want it. That side looks good, so we're going to do the bottom. Okay, I think that's great. And then we're also going to do the same on the priority side here. But before I do that, just so I don't have to worry about relayering, what I'm going to do is create a new go-to element that is the same exact white as this background. So I'm just going to take my lasso tool. And because I don't really have anything on this page yet, it doesn't matter if I have all of these turned on or turned off. It doesn't make a difference. So I'm just going to circle a space and tap. Try again, tap, and then take a screenshot, and it's just white, like you don't see anything here. And I'm just going to hit the share export button and tap copy. And now I'm going to tap on the screen, and I'm going to paste that. And I'm also going to tap on this, and I'm going to add it as an element. And I'm just going to label this new folder as 2025, not 2026, go to. We'll see what ends up in there, but yeah, I'm going to do that. And while I've got this, I am going to cover up the word January because I know I'm going to use my cute January sticker. And I'm just going to paste that again. I could have used the element, but it's in my clipboard, so instead of bothering with that, I just pasted it. No need to go into my elements to add it. And I'm covering up these lines. So I'm going to tap off, and I'm going to use my pen tool here, again in that same size. And I'm just going to draw and hold. It doesn't have to be perfect, remember, because we're just going to grab our shape tool and drag everything into the perfect spot. Okay, so now one thing that I'm going to do so that I can separate this into 2-week sprints is I'm just going to move this over just a little bit, but it's underneath, so I'll just move it back later once I've drawn in every 2 weeks. So I'm going to make these 2 weeks a sprint, these 2 weeks a sprint, and then these last 2 weeks will be a sprint. But obviously January ends during this 5th week. So with the pen tool again, we're just going to draw a straight line, and you're just going to hold and let it snap. And I already messed up. I don't need the first line, I need the second. So we'll turn images off and handwriting should be on, and we'll just drag this down to the second space here. And then you can either draw another line or you can just duplicate this and drag it down. There we go. And then I'm just going to use my image tool here and drag this back to the center. And now I have it separated into 3 sections instead of 6. So now I can approach this as my sprints instead of weekly priorities. Now it's up to you. If you want, you can do the same thing where you take that element and you cover up the word priorities, or you can honestly just expand this one up here, and then you can write the word sprints using the cheeky Collegian font. Or to me, honestly, it doesn't really make a difference. I still understand what I want. I think when I go in and I make my go-to elements video, whenever that happens, I will probably include the word sprint just because it makes sense, but it's not really a necessity for today's video. Oh, look, I forgot, and I'm going to turn off the colors now. At least it wasn't the whole video. Oh my gosh, you guys. If you could see me right now, I'm like turned to the left side trying to deal with my computer. And every time I would scroll off the screen to try to close that out, the little X that I would need to close it would just disappear from the screen. I feel sometimes like I'm really like aging myself out of technology, which is silly because out of everyone I know who's my age, I'm the most like technical person, the most tech savvy. So I know that's not the case, but sometimes I get so frustrated with technology. I'm like, why don't you just work how I want you to work? We just get so used to everything being so instantaneous that I end up getting frustrated when things don't go like perfectly to plan. I'm like, this should be easy. Okay, so let's grab our January sticker because I know that I want that. And we're going to come back to our planner. I have so many tabs open. I'm going to like be a mess trying to not click the wrong thing. Okay, and we're just going to size this to fit in our planner. And you can add other stuff if you want, or you can just kind of fill this whole area. I think I'm happy to just fill this whole space. I think that looks nice. I will probably maybe put some, I don't know, maybe the fireworks around like top 3 goals. I think that could be cute. As long as it doesn't distract too much. Let me turn images back on. And then re-lasso it. Copy. Oh, see, I knew I'd get to the wrong planner at some point, or the wrong tab. Okay, so obviously I don't need the mittens. And I think maybe I'll just put these here. And this one here. Maybe size it up a little bit. There, I think that'll be really cute. And up next, one of the easiest things to do, obviously, that I know I do every single month, is I add in the date dots. So I could do that now, or I could jump into this. Okay, first I'm going to check the notes. I want to see what I'm going to do with this space. So let's come to our sticker pack. And I might do the grid paper just because functionally I feel like that makes sense. Let's use the pink. I'm going to paste this and I'm going to size it pretty large. And then I'm just going to count how many of these like squares I want to cut off. So I want to take off 1, 2, 3, 4, plus this is like a half. So I'm going to try to remove, I think about 4.5. So we're going to tap on this with the image tool and then tap crop. And I'm just going to, there's 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. Maybe a little bit under the 4.5 mark. We'll see if that worked. Oh yeah, that was pretty perfect actually. Kind of impressed. And just size it down just a tiny bit. Okay, so just trying to cover up all the lines. So we've got the word notes here. So I'm going to add a little washi tape to cover that up. So let's come, again, wrong tab. I should have closed some of these out before this. I think I want to do maybe one of the penguin ones. I don't love the glitter ones as much in this color palette just because there's not as much contrast. So I think we'll do one of these, maybe the green one. And we're just going to paste this here. Now, unfortunately, because this one is more transparent, you can actually still see the word notes underneath. So what I'm gonna do is take my image tool and move both of these over. And I'm gonna come to my elements. Oh, wait, that's not right. Elements, there we go. Tapping the wrong button. Come on, Tara. Okay, and then I'm gonna come to this newest folder and I'm going to add in our new element here. And with my image tool, I'm just gonna adjust the size here. And you can cover up the whole area if you want, or just the word notes. I just went ahead and did the whole thing. But now what we're gonna have to do, if you have GoodNote 6, you can just relayer, but I'm just going to cut and paste these back on top and put them back into place. I tell myself all the time that I'm going to switch over to GoodNotes, but I think because I did a trial, GoodNote 6, but I think because I did a trial when it was like brand new, that I'm having a lot of trouble now when I go to like switch officially. I feel like I even paid for it, but it's not upgrading. It's just staying GoodNotes 5. So I don't know what's going on there. If anybody has any advice, if anyone's been in that same situation and figured it out, let me know. But anyways, we've got our notes section here. We're going to do our date dots in a little bit. We've got February down here. Maybe I'll put some hearts, even though the hearts aren't really related, but they're related to February. So I'm going to copy these and bring them over and paste them. I like having a view of the next month. So we've got enough blue. So we'll put a pink on this side because there's pink over here. And then maybe we'll put like both of these, but just make them at different sizes. Yeah. Okay. I think that works. Just gotta balance things out a little bit. That's all. Okay, what do I want to do next? All right, so I am thinking that now I'm going to customize this space. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, let's just go ahead and add in our date dots. It's simple enough. I'm just going to copy all of these. Again, wrong tab. I don't need to have my 2024 planner open anymore, but it has some like useful information because I use it for everything. So there's some like lots of good notes in there, and I really need to like go through those and do a reflection. And anyway, we'll see. Does anyone else feel like if you think about anything for long enough, and by long enough I mean like 3 minutes, that you come up with a massive list of all of the things, like just like ideas, they just come popping into your head about the 100,000 things that you have to do in life? Or is that just me and my brain? Are these lives going to become like therapy sessions where I sit and I just like tell all about my chaotic brain? I don't know if I said this earlier. I am not diagnosed with ADHD. I just feel like I identify very much as a person who probably, most likely, I don't know, I would think under any circumstance you can imagine, probably have ADHD. A lot of my friends, because I know like girls, women, just females in general, were either like never diagnosed or diagnosed really late in life. And I gotta say that all of my friends who are now on ADHD medication, every time I talk to them about just about anything, they're like, Tara, you are a textbook definition of an ADHD person. Which is hilarious because I was always very like high achieving in school, and my little brother was the one that they always talked about having ADHD, but never Tara. Anyway, I've learned so much, and apparently a lot of my tendencies would make sense. Here we are. Okay, I'm not going to use the blue because the background is blue and the title is blue. And I specifically put the green in the middle here because I've got the tape here, and I specifically put the pink on top because this big, thick, like washi tape, grid paper is down here. So we just need this last week to be in the orange, and then I am going to have to figure out some ways to get more of the orange into here. Okay. I think that looks good. And then another thing that I'm going to have to do is I need to come up with whatever I'm going to use to mark my tasks that I'm going to do for my sprints. So an easy thing to do would be, let me just check and see if there's anything themed that I want to use. I could use snowballs. Like that could work. I could use basically any of these, like the stars or something, or I could just go with one of our functional stickers here. So we could do any of like the stars, and I could just color them in or check them off as I go, or I could do these ones that are like half like half a circle here, or the little clouds. I mean, whatever you want, right? I think I might go with the stars because it's the new year, right? So I don't need all of these. Let's do these 3. We're going to copy them and come back to our planner. And then we are going to paste. And I'm going to use this space here as a guide. So I'm going to resize these. And I kind of want, I think, maybe about 4 per box here. Maybe size it up a little bit. And yeah, we're going to see how that goes. So I'm going to duplicate this. I guess I really only need to be duplicating the pink for now. So we're going to duplicate that. And then I do think that that is still a little bit too big. So I'm going to circle these, but also these 4. And just make sure I'm not circling anything else. And we're just going to resize these just down a little bit until it feels like a comfortable space here. And then I might do just ever so slightly rearranging these. And actually the nice thing about doing it in here is that I can use the planner, the lines here for the calendar, as a guide to keep everything perfectly lined up on the left. Okay, and I think it's gonna have to be nudged up just a little bit. Okay, I think that looks good just because when I put this one down, let's duplicate these. When I put this down here, I have to have at least somewhat of a gap here as well. That looks even to that. It's fine when I'm here and you can see like the black line because it kind of like disrupts that visual, but over here I erased that line. So I want it to look as evenly spaced. Oh no, I had it too. I want it to look as evenly spaced as I can between this as it is between, you know, all of these. So I think that will suffice. So now we're going to take all of these and I'm just going to duplicate them for now, and I'm just going to double check, and they are too big because this line is too thick. So let's just resize these and make them a little bit smaller. And then we'll move it over and see. I think that looks great. So I'm going to put it back here. Oh no, I undid that because I actually need to resize all of these together. Excuse me. So we're going to resize them all and see. I think that does look good. So we'll do it that way. And great. Now we're going to take the green and I'm going to move these over here. And we're just going to do our best again to line them up. Honestly, you can keep the pink pretty close. That'll be fine. Whatever's helpful. Just remember when you go to separate them that you can like only lasso on the outside to pull them apart. Because if you lasso too close to the green, then you're going to end up picking that up. And then nobody's going to be happy. We'll all be frustrated. So I'm going to again use this black line to line these up. And then I'm just going to kind of visually make them as matched horizontally as I can. There's definitely going to be room for human error, but one thing that helps is you can actually use the blue dotted lines that are showing that are like what's called like a bounding box that show you the transparent space, and that'll help you align them when they're that close. So I hope that that makes sense. I hope you guys can see what I'm referring to when I say that. So when I do this again, I'm using the black line here. And now I've got double. So I'm basically just trying to make sure that this blue line and this blue line are pretty much like even. There's a tiny amount of space between the top of the pink and a tiny amount of space between the bottom of the pink. I know it's hard to see, but that'll show me that it's basically perfectly in line. And then I'm just going to duplicate these four and bring them down. And again, do that same thing where we're just looking at the top of the blue box and the bottom one there and just hoping that the spacing is the same amount of space above the pink and below the pink. And I do need to move this over just a little bit. I was much more focused on the top and bottom and less so on the edge there. But that's great. So I'm just going to grab the green ones and see I got just enough of the pink. So I'm going to zoom in so that there's less room for error. And there. Okay, got that. So let's bring this down to this section here. And then we're just going to do the same for the orange. Do you guys enjoy like setting up your planner with all the stickers? I remember when I used to bullet journal, I really loved doing it, but sometimes the problem with that was like I would just have days or weeks that I didn't have the energy to always be creating my spreads. And then if I didn't have the energy on like a Sunday to create my spread, then I just didn't end up with a like working planner for the week. And I hated that, especially because I had spent so much time making it beautiful. I definitely went like the Amanda Rachley route with my bullet journaling to make it as beautiful as I could. If you haven't watched her videos, the stuff that she creates is so pretty and was honestly like what got me into the whole like customizing your own planner thing in the first place. And a year later I got an iPad and I was like, I think I can combine these worlds that I really like. So that's how I ended up getting into this whole digital planner world. But I really wanted to make everything, you know, beautiful. And so when I was bullet journaling and I would not have the capacity sometimes to actually, you know, do the designs, then I wasn't willing to just like put like an ugly spread in there or just like do generic like bullet journaling where you literally just like write the date and your to-do list. I wanted it to be pretty, otherwise it was going to ruin the whole book. And so I just like wouldn't have a working planner. And it was not the best system for me. So this works really well because if I have an off week or an off month or something, the planner is still fully functional, but it's also fully customizable. And I love that. Okay. So we have enough room for 8 priorities during a 2-week sprint, and I think that that is great. And there's stars because it's the new year. Woohoo! And I like where we're going here. This is fun. I was really worried that I wasn't going to be able to like make these, I don't know, cute enough because I already really like the layout as is. And I don't know, like I feel like I could use this planner without making it pretty. I mean, I designed them that way in general so that people don't have to buy the stickers, but I don't know, I just personally like, well, I don't know, I like doing the decorating, but I just feel like this planner is so new and exciting, and I think the novelty of it is truly why I was like, well, do I need to use my stickers? But like, let's be real. This is so cute. Like, this is way cuter than this. I'm already sold. Like, I'm back on it. I had a momentary lapse where I was like, oh, I'll just make stickers for everyone else. No, I like this. Wasn't fully serious about that, but I do. I like it this way. So what do I want to do now? I want to be able to track some metrics. So I might actually do what I know May did. She used these, which I think is such a creative use of these. I designed these originally for for appointments. So you would write like the appointment here, and then you would write like, depending on what the layout was, you might put the date here and the time, or you might put the location and the time, like the when and where, right? This is the what, when, and where, the who, when, and where. And I thought that was a great idea, but realistically, I don't actually use it all that much. And May will use this to put like the platform here and then like the start and the end. And I think that's great. Like, you could use this to track anything, like your savings or like reps in the gym or something like that. Like, you can, do like a beginning and an end and then label whatever it is. I think that's such a great use of the stickers. So I just want to shout out to May again because I think that's such a brilliant idea. Okay, so we're going to put these here, but I want this box gone. So maybe I'll move this over. That's what I'm going to do, just because it's going to give me the flexibility. So I'm going to remove the box. Or, I mean, cover the box up, I guess, is technically what I'm doing. Oh, no. Okay, there we go. And, of course, these need to be cut and placed on top. So we're just going to paste. And I might have to paste those again later. So actually, why don't I put them over here where there isn't an image, just so that later, once I start to like layer things over here, I can put these where I want to without having to, I don't know, fuss with it too much. Again, if you're using GoodNotes 6 and you can relayer things, none of this is relevant. This is my personal struggle. Okay, so I think I might use, let's think, do we want to use the green? Was the green a good sticky note option I can put over here? Yeah, let's do a green one. Or I could do them all on sticky notes. Okay, wait. I kind of think this is cute. Do I have 4 things to track? This is what happens. I just let my brain think, and then it just comes up with stuff. Okay, I think this is a good idea. But do I have 4 things to track? Are there things that I want to track on Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube? Okay, we're going to do 4. Or it could be Etsy instead of Pinterest. All right, so I want a size that I can make them all kind of fit in here. I have to bring the penguins in too. Okay. Chaos. My brain is chaos. So we want the pink far away from that pink because it's too busy otherwise. So we're going to put that here. We're going to put this one here. I could bring in some of the, I guess they don't all have to be the same size, do they? I was gonna say I could bring in some of the paper clips and stuff too. All right, they could even overlap a little if I want them to. Oh, this is cute. Actually, this color palette is kind of reminding me of one of the color palettes from February last year. But I think it had like a purple instead. Okay, obviously you can see I'm just kind of like fidgeting, but I'm messing with this instead of using a different F word. I'm just messing with these until I like the arrangement. So no pressure, just kind of figure it out and see what feels good. Yeah, I think that looks nice. Could put other washi tape on all of these, but it's not really necessary. So now I am going to cut these so I can paste them on top. And the fun thing, because, see, when I put this over here, because they're the same color, it's going to just like erase. It's gonna like disappear into it. So I'm gonna kind of put it at the top. And then I might be able to like leave myself a little note or something at the end of the month about that specific thing. So we're going to use our image tool here and just resize them until they look nice on here. And you could obviously warp it if you wanted to. You know, to whatever your needs are. And then just try to get like the angle here similar to the angle of, you know, the whole paper. I definitely feel like I might want like a little space for reflection or something at the bottom of these, so I think that's why I'm doing it this way. I might widen this, because then I can have a little bit more space for reflection, right? If I squish it down a little but widen it to look nice. I should have asked at the beginning if the sound on this was okay. If you're here and you want to comment, feel free to let me know if the sound is okay, like if the levels are loud enough. I'm going to assume that they're fine because nobody said anything, but you know, that doesn't mean anything. All right, and then yeah, I think the only thing is here is I'm just gonna smush this one up so that it matches the others. I think I'm suddenly talking quieter, so if you can't hear me, that could just be my fault. Okay, I think this one just isn't straight. If you want to, you can also like zoom in and you can bring this up and then make sure that the blue line actually is in line, so you could be able to tell if it was angled. That makes it a lot easier if you're having like some struggles visually, and then you can just drag it down and it'll be the right angle. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll be really good to track. I'll probably put, now I think I just need to put the penguins in here. So the only other thing is I might do some confetti, and also maybe I will do more of the blue pen here, and I'm just going to draw the shape, and that thought it was a circle, so I guess we're gonna do a whole rectangle here and let it okay, if you're not new here, you've probably heard me complain about the glitches that my iPad does. That was an example, and it wasn't that bad. It's weirdly worse in Procreate, and then it's kind of annoying in GoodNotes, and it's basically non-existent in Affinity Designer, which is really nice because that's my preferred design program. There's probably, we weren't zoomed out, but there were probably a bunch of dots all over the screen. So all those times that I was pressing the undo button and you didn't see anything happening, it's because there were little dots elsewhere. They're like super tiny. Yeah, okay. It just like fully glitches. It's wild. Okay, good. We're caught back up. I've tried to take it into the Apple store and ask them about it because it's literally been like that since the day that I set it up. But I backed it up from an old iPad, but that iPad didn't have this issue. And they were like, oh, well, it probably happened, like it was probably in the backup. And I'm like, but that doesn't make sense. It didn't happen to the other one. And they were like, yeah, but sometimes these things happen and now it's stuck. And because you didn't come to us like the day that it happened and you've already backed up all your stuff to your iPad thousands of times since you purchased this, that no matter what you do, like even if you reset this and back it up, it's always going to have that glitch. But had I done it from like the very first day, maybe it wouldn't have. Maybe. But then who knows, because it probably still would have come over from the backup from my other iPad. But I don't know. I'd lose too much at this point. So we're going to come to our precision eraser, and we are just going to erase away the area where the word next month is. And if you want, you can, like, once you get that clearly, if you really want to get it like super precise, you can go until you see the black line underneath and then just hit the undo button. So just do it like one at a time, like a little stroke, and then as soon as it shows up, you can just undo it. If you're being particular, I think that looks cute. Actually, I think that looks really cute. And now all I want to do, I think, is do the penguins and maybe some confetti. So come to our sticker pack. I'm going to bring a bunch of these penguins over. Okay. They're adorable. Like, I think they're just the cutest. Alright, so let's come back to my planner. I hope you guys like them as much as I do. I really think they're so cute. Look at them. They're adorable. Okay, I'm sorry. That was probably too much. Alright, so I'm going to put this little tree here. And maybe we'll put this little cutie here next to the tree, the one who's drinking the hot chocolate. This is me. If I was a penguin, I'd be the one drinking the hot chocolate. Okay. And, oh, I like this one, little Happy New Year guy. Maybe we'll put that. Actually, that's my least favorite of the Happy New Year ones. I either want the one with the sparklers or the one holding the banner. I made this one. Actually, I turned this one into the wallpaper for this month. I can show you guys that at the end. I think it's super cute. And then I used these guys and I made a printable wall art. The ones that are sledding, they are super cute too. Alright, so we're going to put these guys here. Like they're sledding down a hill. I like these ones that are like cheersing. Actually, I think my favorite, I don't know. It's so hard to pick a favorite, but I really like the ones that have the earmuffs on, which I thought I did more than one. Oh yeah, I've got this one that's cheersing, and I've got this one that's fishing. I should have done like a different one. Okay, I think for the New Year one, I'm going to put not one that actually says Happy New Year, but just the one that's holding up a glass to give a toast to 2021. What year? Gosh, it's 2025. Good work, Tara. Okay, I'm gonna put these guys here. Maybe? No, maybe I'll put them down here. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. Now, the problem is the hat blends in. Maybe I'll put them here. Oh no, then the earmuffs. Okay, it's got to go in front of the blue, I guess. I've left myself no choice. The only problem is I find it hard to see the fishing. Okay, you know what we're going to do? These guys are moving, and this one's going to come over here. I still run into the same issue with the... You know what? Here, that's how we're doing it. Right here at the bottom of the next month. And then I think I can put this one here. kind of sledding off the screen. And I don't know, do I want like these ones having the motion, like, I don't know, somehow they're all sledding downhill. This one, I wanted it to look like it was like, Yahoo! And just like sliding, like butt first. Okay, I think I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so my little penguin guy makes a little more sense. And I think this one looks really happy. I like this one. They're just so cute. I don't really have a rhyme or reason for putting them, many of them, where they are, other than the fact that they're just cute and I want more of them on the screen. They're just so cute. Okay, this one, I left the antlers kind of bare because I thought it would be fun to like wrap lights around them, but we're not going to do that today. But if you guys are setting yours up and you think that's a good idea, you could do that. Okay, let's put this one here. They're just cute, right? And I can get rid of these ones, I think. I guess that one can go like there between New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Right? Okay, I think that's maybe it. Do I want this one over here instead? Do I want to do confetti? Have I done enough? I kind of feel like I should have brought back the ones I just deleted. I should have put one here. I feel like we're missing one. I like the way this one looks like it's kind of like perched on top of that. So I think what I might do is just come back and grab one of these that I didn't end up using, or like these two that are cheersing each other. Maybe. And just kind of like prop them up here. Okay, they're just so cute, right? Like, how do you not look at this and just think, these penguins are adorable? All right, I'm gonna do, gosh, if I could just remember which of these I have. I'm gonna put this one. Sorry, last one. This is the last one. Sometimes I feel like I just talk in circles when I do lives because I'm focused on trying to think while also trying to talk and decorate my planner. And multitasking is like bad for the brain. Okay, I think that's enough. I don't think I need confetti. I think that might make it too busy. But I don't know. You guys will have to let me know what you think. If you think that it needs more confetti, you can leave a comment, because I think I'm done here, so we're not going to spend any more time on the live discussing it. But if anybody's re-watching this, watching the replay, you'll have to let me know what you think. I don't think it's too bare, but if you think it needs confetti just to kind of fill in a couple of spots, definitely let me know. Maybe I'll add it in through peer pressure later. But okay, I think that's it. I think this is going to be really functional. It's got my area for my sprints. It's got all of this space for my notes, which I already had stuff filled out. So I'm just going to have to like go through and copy and paste everything. Because if I just copy all of this and paste it on top, then I'm going to miss what's underneath. So the only other option would be to like highlight the handwriting and bring it and like cut it and paste it on top. But the problem with that is that I've got handwriting here and here and here. So the easiest process, if you are in a similar situation to me, would be to cut and paste from this side on top and put it where you want it on this. And then cut everything once you're all done and paste it back to the original page. And then just delete this extra one. The only reason I say that is because I think, and I could be wrong, but I think that if you cut this page, then I don't think that like any of your other, I don't want to like try it and ruin my planner, but wow, Tara. Click. What's happening? Oh, it's because I'm already on that page. I don't think if you're here and you click on January, I don't think it would go to this page if you delete this one. I think it just breaks the link. So I would definitely make sure that this is the page that you end up deleting. But yeah, that's my final piece of advice here. So I'm going to go and add my stuff here. And yeah, let me know what you guys thought of this live stream. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing live streams for the foreseeable future because as much as I love setting up my digital planner, I want to still bring this content to you guys because I know this is what everyone who's subscribed has subscribed because this is what I do. But I also want to teach more. So I want to be able to talk more about creative entrepreneurship. I want to talk about using Affinity Designer, using Procreate, making fonts, making planners. I want to be able to bring more educational content to you guys. And just realistically, I can't fit that many videos in by recording and editing and all of that, or like the time it takes to do a live is the time it takes me to record a plan with me. So it literally saves me like 7 or 8 hours of time per video. So if I'm doing 3 plan with me's, that's like 24 hours in a month that I could be spending creating better content for you guys. So I don't know. And if you just watch this on 2x speed, if you're watching the replay, then it basically ends up being about the same length as what my edited videos are anyway, because they usually fall between like 22 and 26 minutes. And right now we're at 52. So that's like 26 minutes at 2x speed. Or, if you don't want to watch things at 2x speed because you actually care about your attention span and you're comfortable spending an hour with me, then I appreciate you and I love you so much for letting me be that big of a part of your life. But yeah, this is it. I'm done. I'm done babbling as well. I'm really happy with how this turned out and I'm excited to see how I customize the rest of the layouts in this brand new planner. I will leave links to everything down below. I'll leave links to Patreon if you want to be a part of the Patreon community so you can get all of the stickers. I will leave the links to the Etsy listings if you want to just buy one of the color palettes or if you want to buy the bundle so that you can plan with me. And I will also leave links to the planner, which comes with my cheeky collegian font, which is used in the planner so that everything is consistent for you. So yeah, links to everything if you do want to use this will be available to you, but no pressure. I love you just for watching. Okay, that's all. Thank you guys so much. You're the best. I love you so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!